Well, welcome again once again to MathDoctor.net. Today we're going to continue with some geometry vocabulary words. And in particular, we're going to be talking about triangles. We have a pretty short lesson today because we just have some words that we have to go over and make sure everybody understands the meaning of those words. Well, you already know what a triangle is. This is a picture of a triangle right here. You already knew that. And a triangle, you know, is just a three-sided thing. Well, your teacher probably won't want you to just write down three-sided thing. They want you to do something a little bit better. And the definition that your teacher is probably looking for is a polygon with three sides and three angles, because this figure has three sides and three angles. A polygon just means any kind of two-dimensional flat figure with a certain number of sides. So, for example, here we have a four-sided polygon, a rectangle, or a five-sided polygon called a pentagon, or a hexagon. Those are all polygons. And the important thing to know about polygons is that each side is a line, or we should really say line segment. Because remember, for your whole life, you called this thing over on the side of the triangle a line. Well, now that you're taking geometry, you have to stop calling that because it's really a line segment. Because remember, in geometry, when we say the word line, we mean that that line goes off forever into outer space and down to the center of the earth. So here, it's not a line, it's a line segment. So for example, this thing down here, well, that's not a polygon because that does not have straight lines, actually line segments for the sides. But a three-sided polygon, a polygon with three sides and three angles, that is called a triangle. So that's the definition of a triangle. Well, we have some different kinds of triangles that we have to talk about. There are equilateral triangles, isosceles triangles, and scalene triangles. So let's talk about what those terms mean. An equilateral triangle, all of these words mean that we're talking about a triangle based upon the length of the sides. And an equilateral triangle means that all three sides are equal. And how I showed that here, because I'm not a very good drawer, so in my picture, the way I show that they're equal is I put one hash mark on each side. That doesn't mean that they're 1 inch long or 1 meter long or anything like that. It just means that all of the ones with one hash mark have the same length. So this is an equilateral triangle because it has three equal sides. The word equa, well, that sounds like equa, and lateral is a word meaning line or side. So an equilateral triangle has all three sides that are equal. A isosceles triangle means that the triangle has at least two equal sides. Now, most of the time when we say isosceles triangle, we're talking about one that has two equal sides that looks like the one here. But there's a trick question looming there because look at the definition of that word. It says at least two equal sides. So you might get a trick question on the test and say, well, is this an isosceles triangle? Well, yeah, it is because it has at least two equal sides. But normally we would call that an equilateral triangle unless they want to throw a trick question at you. The isosceles triangle means that it has two equal sides, or really at two or more equal sides. And here, once again, I showed that they're equal by putting hash marks. So you can see I put two hash marks on this side, and I put two hash marks on this side, just not because they're 2 inches long or they're twice as long as the other side or anything like that. That's just to show that the ones with two hash marks are both the same size, and the one with one hash mark is a different size. So isosceles triangle means a triangle with two equal sides. Last but not least, a scalene triangle, well, there's only one possibility left, and that means a triangle with three sides that are all different. And again, I showed that here by showing that one has one hash mark, one has two hash marks, and one has three hash marks, just meaning that they're all different because they all have a different kind of hash mark on them. So that's a way of defining a triangle, a word used for a triangle based upon the sides of it. Well, we also have some special words that we use for triangles based upon what the angles look like. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret, and that is that every triangle, no matter what, is always going to have two acute angles, no matter what. You can't draw a triangle that doesn't have two acute angles. And remember what the word acute means. Acute just means sharp. An acute angle is a sharp angle less than 90 degrees. And so an acute triangle means that all three of the angles are acute. So all three of the angles are less than 90 degrees. That makes it an acute triangle. Because remember, two of them are always acute. So you always have to make sure all three of them are acute angles. And if they're all acute angles, if they're all sharp, that makes it an acute triangle. Another special kind of triangle that we have a name for is the right triangle. And that means that it still has two acute angles, remember, because every triangle does, but it means that that third one, it has one right angle. That makes the whole thing a right triangle. And as you can see in the picture here, I drew that little square down in the corner. That means that that is the right angle. And a right triangle is a triangle with one 90-degree angle. Remember, the other two are always acute. An obtuse triangle, as you might have guessed, means that that third angle, one of the angles, is obtuse. And remember from yesterday what the word obtuse means? Well, obtuse means, just like that obtuse kid in your class, means he's not very sharp. Or in this case, the angle is not very sharp. It's more than 90 degrees. So an obtuse triangle simply means that that third angle is greater than 90 degrees. An obtuse triangle is a triangle that has one angle of greater than 90 degrees. So that's it for today. We just had some terminology. Remember, there are different names for triangles. A triangle is a polygon with three sides and three angles. An equilateral triangle means that it means that all three sides are the same and three angles are the same. Isosceles means that it has at least two sides that are equal, and a scalene triangle means that all the sides are different. We can also give triangles a special name based upon one of their angles. An acute triangle means that all three angles are less than 90 degrees. All three angles are acute. But if there's one right angle, that turns the whole triangle into a right triangle. And if there's one obtuse angle, that turns the whole triangle into an obtuse triangle. So I hope that clears up the confusion of these pretty simple concepts. We just have to learn the new words for different kinds of triangles. So thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you at future videos at mathdoctor.net.